Hey guys, Chico and Zeus here. I got a lot of questions asking about my magazine tube extension that I did on my H&R Pardner pump protector 12 gauge shotgun. So I wanted to show you guys how I modified a Remington 7-round extension to fit onto the H&R Pardner pump. The first thing I did was ordered a Remington. It was made by Takstar. It's a Takstar magazine tube extension for a Remington 870 12 gauge. And when I ordered it, I made sure I ordered the Parkerized version. So it's a 7-round Parkerized version made by Takstar. When that came in, the first thing I did was I checked to make sure the threads matched up with the Pardner protector pump, which they do. But then you'll notice when you thread it on that the extension sticks out 2.5 inches past the end of the barrel. That is because, like I said in my previous video, the Pardner protector pump barrel lug is 2.5 inches forward from the Remington 870 barrel lug. That way you won't be able to use a Remington barrel on this shotgun. You can't use this barrel on a Remington shotgun. So what that does is it makes the magazine extension stick out 2.5 inches too far. So the first step I did was I threaded the extension on all the way and then measured from the end of the barrel here to the end of the magazine tube extension. Now I don't have a full length one anymore because mine's already cut down, but you can imagine that the magazine tube extension is sticking out here 2.5 inches past. So what I did was I threaded it on, made sure it was tight, then I checked it with my calipers, going from the end of the barrel out to the end of the magazine tube extension. You know, if you imagine it like here, out to the end of the magazine tube extension, it was 250, 2.5 inches. Okay, so then what I did was I locked in my calipers to that exact measurement, you know, 2.5 inches, 2.500. Then what I did was I held it on the end of my magazine tube extension. You know, this one's a shorter one now because it's already cut. But imagine if this was the end of the magazine tube extension. I put it on just like this and then scribed around the magazine tube extension with this point. Okay, that put a 2.5 inch scribe line onto my extension. So, you know, that's how I knew where my cut needed to be. So then I took the extension back off the gun and using a pipe tubing cutter, I just happen to have a cheap, this is a, you know, cast iron tubing cutter, basically one of these deals. I put that wheel right here, this is a cutting wheel, put that right on my line. You clamp this in and then you snug it up a little bit and then you twist your magazine tube extension. Now once you start this, you're cutting it, so measure twice and cut once, like they always say. I don't want, you know, you don't want to mess this up. It's a $40 extension. So you tighten it a little bit, you spin the extension all the way around once, tighten it again, spin it all the way around once. Just keep doing that. It'll take a minute or so and you'll actually cut through the tube and you'll have a nice clean cut. Okay, the next step is when you take the cutter off, you'll notice that on the inside of your magazine tube extension where you made your cut, you're going to have a, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, you're going to have a rolled edge. Okay, that rolled edge right there is smaller in diameter than the ID of the tube. Okay, the ID of the tube is 0.920 inches. That's the inside diameter of the tube. The inside of that rolled edge is going to vary because tubing cutters are not, you know, super accurate. But mine was about 0.840. So I had about 80 thousandths difference between the ID of the tube and the ID of the rolled edge. So then what I did was I found a a thin piece of metal that was pretty close to 920. It was a washer, a steel washer, and it was real close to 920, just a few thousandths over. So I polished the edge of that up with a sanding wheel, and then I used that as my form, basically. Then what I did was I cut out a piece from a DVD box. You know, the case that your DVDs come in, the black plastic. I trimmed a piece of that plastic out, you know, it's pretty thick, and laid that over the top of that washer, and then put that on the sanding disc again and got the two to be the same size. So I got the washer and then that black plastic, which basically is what you see on the end of my extension. Right there, you can see the black plastic. That's a DVD case. I actually cut up Mark Wahlberg's Shooter. Just happened to be the DVD case that sacrificed for this. So then what I did was I slid the plastic in there. It was really, really tight. Had to use a dowel to kind of pound it down in there. And then I put the metal washer in there behind it just as a backer, so that when the spring is pushing on it, it gives it something to push on. Alright, now for the next step. You got this thing fabricated. Next thing you got to do, when you take this factory end cap off, okay, there's going to be this black plastic follower here. That's got to come out. So mine will come right out, but I'm going to show you how you need to take it out. You put a screwdriver in there. There's a slot on the end. You got to push it in, give it a twist, and then it'll pop out. Okay, mine will pop out anyway, and I'll show you why. Okay, these things it's got little grooves right here on every 90 degrees. These ones only go 3/4 of the way. These ones go all the way. Inside your tube, there's dimples that lock this piece in. It's little dimples in the mag tube. Okay, Remington's got them. The H&R Pardner pumps got them. To use a mag tube extension, you got to get those dimples out. So there's a couple different ways you can do it. Some guys drill. They take the barrel off and drill in through the dimple and just ream it out with a drill bit. But then you have holes right there. What I did was I stuffed paper towels down in the mag tube. You know, I pulled the spring out, stuffed paper towel down in there below here. Then used my Dremel with the sanding drum and just touched them up with a Dremel a little bit. Once I thought they were good enough, I slid a shot shell in and out of there. Make sure there's no clearance issues at all. Pulled out the paper towels from this, you know, pushed it back through to clear out all the debris. Blew it real good with air. And then oiled up the sanding marks just to prevent rust. Alright, then what I did was I put the spring and follower that came with the Remington extension, the Tackstar extension. I put that all in there, put the gun together, and you've seen that in my previous video. With that system, it was holding 6 rounds in the tube plus 1 in the chamber. After thinking about it for a little while, that new tube was 2.5 inches longer, and that spring was longer and stiffer. So what I did was I went back to the factory spring. That's what this is right here. This is H&R spring. I put that back in. It's a little tight right there. Hold on. Okay. Like I said, I got just the washer and the plastic in here. I don't use this piece anymore. So I just got my washer and my plastic in the end of my tube. I slide my tube on, compress it all in. Get it tight. There you go. Now with the factory spring, I'm getting 7 in the tube plus 1 in the chamber, and it has no problem cycling. I've ran this gun, you know, a couple hundred rounds since I put this spring back in there, and I'm very happy with it. Okay guys, there's the extension installed after it's been cut down. What I want to show you now is that with that cut down extension and the factory H&R Pardner pump spring, I can now get 7 in the magazine tube plus 1 in the chamber. So I have it loaded right now. The gun's on safe. Let me flip it over here. Let me zoom it out so you can see this. Okay, hopefully you can see. But like I said, it's on safe right now. Finger's gonna stay away from the trigger. But what we have is we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 7 plus 1. Those are 2 3/4 inch Federal double aught bucks. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you got any questions, send me your comments. And I appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned.